Getting your hair cut or styled will no longer be as easy. Additional restrictions on businesses to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Barbershops, hair salons, tattoo parlors forced to be shut down.
All nail salons, hair salons, barbershops in both Ohio and Kentucky are closed, all designed to slow the spread of COVID-19.
This is my business, and I don't want to see my business fail.
The place you love coming to is like you can no longer come here now. We're not allowed to be here.
Being a barber is far much more than just cutting hair. It's our career, and we respect it to the day we die.
My name's Alcides Francis Cheney, but everybody calls me Mr. C. I'm a master barber. I've been cutting hair for over 30 years. I've been the owner of Consider It Done Barbershop for the last 20 years. I oversee the operations. I also teach barbers how to cut hair, so I do a little bit of everything. I wear different multiple hats. For the most part, I grew up in North Philly. I was running around with the wrong people. I took up barbering, and it helped me to learn something. It helped me to learn a trade, which I didn't have a trade. I didn't know how to do anything. It gave me a place to go to, and it gave me importance. And it's also kept me off the streets. It kept me from running around with the wrong people because I would spend long hours in the barbershop. Every waking day, I was here, every day. There was a shower upstairs. I would take showers upstairs if I needed to. Being a barber saved my life. Literally, it saved my life. I don't even know where I would be if I wasn't a barber. The pandemic's affected me mentally because this is my business and I don't want to see my business fail. My second reaction was to gather everybody together and have a meeting in this room and tell everybody that we were shutting down that day. Everybody seemed to think like, oh, it's no big deal, no big deal. But I really took it serious because they threatened to take licenses and shut down businesses. Initially, it was voluntarily. So for the first initial week, I decided to close anyway, even though people wanted to stay open for at least that 1 week. But then towards the end of the week, it became mandatory. And initially it was supposed to be for 2 weeks. So we thought 2 weeks can't be that bad. Well, it's now been 2 months. When they reopen the state, some barbershops are not gonna make it, because you got barbershops that are paid $800 to $1,200 a month. If you shut them down for 3 to 4 months, that's almost $5,000 in back rent. Like, many landlords are not gonna stand for that. They're offering loans, but some people don't even qualify for the loans because there's too much red tape and paperwork to go through. It's very fearful, not just for me, but for all the barbers having to put themselves at jeopardy to try to cut hair somewhere just to try to make ends meet and survive. So it's been stressful.
My name's Eric Robledo. My job here is just to make everybody feel welcome. I like to have fun, joke around with everybody. I like to see people laugh and happy when they're in the barbershop. Originally, I lost my job in retail, so I needed something to do. Couldn't figure out what it was. My dad told me, why don't you go to barber school? Never thought about it. Always been in the barbershop. I always had fun in the barbershop, but never thought about me, myself, personally being a barber. Went to barber school, and I became a barber, and I love every second of it. I love what I do. This is a passion. I don't even consider this a job. It's because I love doing it so much. Being a barber has changed my life tremendously, tremendously. I used to come here to Consider It Done Barbershop to get my hair cut at first and start off sweeping the floors, cleaning. Always wanted to be around the barbers, the conversations, the sports talks. It was fun. It's that bond that before I never had really had in the place of work or a job that I had. It was always clock in at this time, you're out at that time, that's it. The people you work with, you may have small conversations with, but it was never like a family thing. Whereas though becoming here, me being a barber has changed my life, whereas though it made me feel welcome and, a part of something. When the boss told me about us not being able to open up anymore, it kind of hit me hard. I was kind of like, why? And do we have to? The amount of time that we spend sterilizing our equipment, We actually know about sanitation, so I was kind of surprised that they made us barbers, shut down indefinitely. And when the news hit me, it was kind of like a real big shock, like, well, how long is this gonna be? Because like the place you love coming to is like you can no longer come here now. We're not allowed to be here. Even by me driving by at times, I kind of like wonder, like, man, I wish we were still in there. I wish I was at work right now. I wish I can be able to put a smile on somebody's face, especially during these times, which are kind of hard for everybody. People need that smile, that happiness, just to give them a little bit of sanity, because we thrive off of communication with each other, that actual face-to-face interaction, it kind of like drives us. You never know the impact you have on a person just by the simple dialogue or just a simple hello can do for a person's life. Can just change them around. They can be having the worst day in the world. By you putting that smile on that customer, it can just make them feel so much better about themselves.
First name's Nathaniel, last name's Zenon. My role at Consider It Done is pretty much barber manager. The amount of time that I've been cutting hair, it's been 20 plus years now as we speak. I used to see my mom do like designs and stuff on, the guys' heads on the porch or whatever. And I didn't plan on being a barber, to be honest. I had a passion for it, but I never planned on being a barber. I wanted to do something a little more high-end, you would say, just to please my parents. But I noticed that going for troubleshooting and repair, just to get an associate's degree, was good enough for them. But after a while, I had my firstborn child, and I needed money fast. So what I did was I had to think quick, and I went back to what was naturally and godly given to me, and that was cutting hair. It's in your root, like you can sense that urge that, I'm a barber, I love cutting hair. So you know pretty much what you're going to be in your calling, and this is my calling, being a barber till the day I die. When we hosted that meeting, originally we were talking 2 weeks shutting down the barbershop. Within that time, I have ran through my savings, I have ran through my credit card expenses just to put food in the refrigerator, and it has put me in a position where I'm risking my life, you can say, because unfortunately I am doing house cuts, because whatever it is that I am getting, there's no overhead at this moment. I can't afford a situation where I'm paying overhead plus putting in the refrigerator. It debacled my lifestyle, it debacled, I'm sure, many other barbers' lifestyles as well. Some essential, like non-essential businesses will be able to open up, but it's like only in the yellow. That means like bars can open up and so forth, but we can't. What is the lockdown doing to barbers and barbershops in Philadelphia? To be honest, that question, it irates me a bit. With that being said, I feel that what that's doing, it's debacling as far as like our standings go, as far as being essential. In the 1900s, we were considered part of an essential statistic, such as the medical department. And then they, for some reason, took us out of the medical department, but yet we still take tests. We still take practicals and theories where anatomy comes to play. Pathogenic, non-pathogenic diseases are in play. So it's not just that we cut hair. We have to know the anatomy of the hair. We have to know what certain things are before we even service a proper haircut without hurting the customer or without spreading diseases or germs to ourselves and our staff. We have survived every pandemic disease known to mankind, and yet barbershops were still existent at the time. Barbers were not just people that knew how to cut hair, they were educated people. These tests are not just given to us to pass easily. A lot of people fail and give up being this barber status, right? I want to sit there and say, whoever's going to listen to this interview later, put thought in that. Because what it's done to barbers was take away our only thing we know how to do to make money for our family. If you really put studying into barbers, yeah, we're essential. We're as essential as any doctor, as any nurses in the hospital. Because we go by the code of conduct of sanitation, and we do it correctly. If you're going to take your practicals exam, if you miss out on cleaning your station, or if you do it incorrectly, you fail automatically. That's how important sanitation is to being a barber.
Do I agree with shutting down the businesses while the pandemic was going on? 100%. But to what extent? We went to school and we know how to sanitize. We know how to disinfect. We know how to treat the client so that we don't pass on infectious diseases. So we know that. I mean, we're willing to wear suits, gloves, face masks, face shields. We're willing to eliminate the waiting room area. We're willing to make appointments only, no walk-ins. That's to minimize the number of people that are inside a building at one point or another. Anything that makes it a healthier environment, we're willing to do.
When you have that place where people from all shapes of the world can come to and just have a brief conversation without social media, like, it's such a warm feeling to know that you have other people that share maybe the same ideas or same goals or same ambition that you do in the barbershop. For that to be taken away, it's hard for a lot of people to fathom. If it keeps up, we will have that culture anymore. Such a great environment can be wiped away within a couple months.
I have a question for you. What motivated you in doing this interview was because you saw the newspaper with Mr. C, myself, and Eric. I read that newspaper article and make sure that the educational parts that I threw out there, they stay on this, because a lot of people think statistically the barbers are just, urbanized and they listen to hip hop culture and we just cut hair and that's that. No, it's far more than that. We're therapists to those who need it sometimes. We pass on good advice and we make impacts where impacts should be known, and we're not being recognized for things like that nowadays. Being a barber is far much more than just cutting hair and making you look good. It's far more than that. It's our career and we respect it and we cherish it to the day we die.
Thank you for calling Consider It Done Barbershop. Yes, we are still closed. We'll be closed until further notice, until the governor gives us permission to open back up. We apologize for the inconvenience. Thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. Bye-bye.